Well, I don't know if I'm going to say it's simple, but I have been thinking about it quite a bit. It's kind of interesting what happens when I know I'll be talking about a particular topic, what starts happening in my universe regarding it. So I realize that there's like this spectrum of trust, and at one end, there's us humans doing this trust thing. So, give you an example. I have a friend who, married friend, and she had an affair. And her husband, after that, didn't trust her for a year. If she said it was sunny out, he would go look out the window. I mean, he was really not trusting, and it took him a year to get to the place where he trusted her again. And and it worked. And they were married, and he passed away. But they lived a very happy life, and she knew she did that, and she knew how he was, and that was the way it went. So that's one aspect of trust where we determined that we're either going to trust or not trust someone. So then, interestingly, here I am in this thinking about trust, and I had this conversation with a friend, and she says to me, "Well, I definitely don't trust men." I said, "Oh, really?" And honestly, akin to the listening, I didn't say anything. I just sat there, went, "Really?" And she said, "Yeah." She says, "And because this happened in my life and that happened in my life, and then he did this and he did that." And then she stopped and she went, "But you know what? He did what he did, but I'm the one that said I don't trust men. This is one person, one guy in my life did this, and I made it up that I don't trust men. So it isn't about him, it's about me." Now, I thought that was pretty astute of her, very insightful and very self reflective. Not everybody can do that. So it's kind of interesting, which is good to know. And then my husband, who drives for Lyft, he's always out there having these amazing transformational conversations. He took a woman on a for a ride, and she said all of a sudden he said, "We were just talking about who knows what," and all of a sudden she says, "Can I pick your brain?" He said, "Okay." So this one was having difficulties with people at work, and this one did this, and this person did that, and he says to her, "So what does that mean to you?" So they had this whole conversation. And in the end, she got to this place where she realized, get this woman who had never done any of this kind of self reflection says, "You know what? I realize I don't trust myself." So it turns out that over in this category called human being, let's leave spirit out of it for the moment. Just as humans, we have this choice all the time whether to trust another person or not, to tr- or to trust ourselves or not. So it's really up to us. And if we can center ourselves, when we have that question, when we don't trust someone, we center ourselves, we can determine whether that person is really trustworthy, or is it me? Is it me making up stuff about them that has me not trust them? Or is it really them? So, like, for instance, I have a granddaughter who has over the years borrowed money. And at first, I didn't trust her to repay it, and she didn't, surprisingly. What do you know? And then I shifted from trusting her to repay it, and guess what she does? She's very diligent about it. So I have zero problem loaning her money. It always comes back. And I would say, it's a subtle hint here, that when we are open to trusting, life shows up differently. So those people, now then, another aspect of trust is trusting people to make mistakes or to do things wrong or to do stuff that we don't like. Again, that points to you. I mean, they're doing something, they're being them. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, saying the best they can be. And given their history and all, it's amazing that they're even able to do what they do. But they're doing that, and that they do things we like or don't like has zero to do with them, has all to do with us. So maybe it's not them that we don't trust. Maybe haven't discerned some things for ourselves. So it is also possible that you can easily not trust. So for instance, if you, like with my granddaughter, if she had not, if I, let's say I didn't shift and I didn't move from not trusting her to trusting her, and she kept not paying me, then I could trust that she would not pay me back. Then I have a different choice to loan her money or not to loan her money. So there are people who consistently behave in a particular way where you can trust that. You can trust that people are going to do A, B, C, D. Now, I'm not I'm not saying this in a bad way, but we have watched Donald Trump do and say a lot of stuff. And if we think that he's going to do something different than he's already done, he's not. You can trust him to be exactly the way that he is. He says he's going to do this, he's going to be a dictator for a day, he'll do it. We're and if people show themselves to us like that, it's kind of silly of us to ignore it. So I'm urging us to call on the muscle of trust in ourselves and then look and see what there is to trust rather than to not trust another person. The value in that, of course, is it gives you access to yourself. And well, you try it out for yourself. I had a different life when I and a different set of feelings, etc., when I didn't trust my granddaughter than when I do. So it's our choice at every moment. What how do you want to feel and how do you want your world to be? Trust or not trust? So, I mean, for instance, Donald Trump, I trust him. He will be exactly the way that he is. He's not kidding. I mean, I would say he has no choice. That's the way he is. He was raised however he's raised. He has, just like all the rest of us, we have our own beautiful and awful history behind us that gives us these moments, gives us the present. And we're used to what his present is, and he's going to continue doing what he's doing. Now, if you want that in your life, terrific, vote for him. And if you don't vote for him. Is that, I mean, it's that simple. It's that simple. I hate to tell you. You knew it, right? It comes down to that. So that's on the human scale. So when someone does something that you don't like and you notice yourself not willing to trust them, take a look at yourself and see where you are about it. See what it is. Is it really them or is it you? And if you can't tell, as a matter of fact, if you are, how can I say this? About to not trust, consider it might be a reaction. It might not be the truth about anything, it might just be a reaction you're having. And take a moment and center yourself. And then decide whether you're going to trust that person or not from there. Now, why do that? Because when you're centered, you're connected to spirit. And then how it shows up in your body often is, we call it intuition or a gut feeling, or you talk about it however you talk about it, there's that sense. You just have a sense that this makes sense or this doesn't make sense. That's what I'm talking about. That spirit using your body to communicate. So trust that. So now we move over to the other side of the spectrum, which is the side of spirit and living and trusting spirit. Now, spirit is everywhere at all moments. This is all just a manifestation of spirit. And we're each, as us human beings, unique manifestations of spirit. Okay. So we are at every second connected to spirit. Spirit's breathing us. We're not causing this breathing. Spirit is having our heartbeat and having all the trillions of interactions in our body happening all the time. You and I are not doing that. It's happening whether we like it or not. And we can't make it not happen. Just think about it. Try to get your heart to stop beating right now. Do it. Right. As if you could. I mean, there are things that do cause it to happen, but we can't, our own personal power, we can't make it happen. So spirit is guiding our lives at every second. So the idea then is to trust that, to trust spirit within. I'm going to say it that way. Spirit's within and without, but trust spirit within you. Learn to, excuse me, learn how spirit talks to you, because she does. She's talking to you she or he is doing that at every moment. guiding you, guiding you, guiding you. And the more you can learn to communicate with spirit, the more everything starts to work. I mean, the circumstances in your life do change, but you're more at peace. You find more joy. You're more grateful. You're more creative. You're more just in heaven. And when you're there, then the interactions that you have with people are dramatically different. So we can, and again, it's a choice, we can totally trust spirit. Everything that happens in life is a gift to us. Whether will we always like it? No. Will we always understand it in the moment? No. Not necessarily, but sometimes we do. And sometimes it takes a while to find out exactly what's so about it. Like you were talking about Marilyn, for that family to find out what really happened with Alex and all that. Could have been he had a heart attack. Who knows? It's always a gift to do the work anyway, no matter the circumstances. It's a blessing and a gift and an opportunity for personal growth. Not to be in that place where you're beating yourself up about it, but somewhere else about it. So where I forget the young woman's name, but she has that opportunity to open up and see what this could mean for her in a positive, loving way, because that's all spirit is. So we may not like the different circumstances that happen and different things that people say, etc., but we can trust that spirit is on our side. Isn't that great to know? And if you don't think so, do some work with yourself till you can get to that place where you realize that spirit is something you can trust 100% of the time. And it gives you a totally different life. Well, your whole experience of life is dramatically different. I find it a lot easier when things don't go, let's call it well, when they don't go the way I want them to go, which, that happens a lot. It's okay. It's all okay. There's not always some big lesson to learn out of every little thing that doesn't go your way, but gee whiz, things don't go your way a lot. Little things and big things, and it's all okay. And the more it's okay, and the more you rest in spirit and allow yourself to trust and know that your life is being guided, the better off you are. I mean, it cuts down on this business they're talking about now called toxic stress. We're all living in toxic stress, for Pete's sake. There's everything, everywhere you look, there's something wrong with something. I used to be a great big student of food and eat what you should eat and what you don't eat. One day eggs were bad for you, the next day they were good. One day coffee's bad for you, next day it's fine. One day red wine is bad for you, next day it's I finally gave up and said, nope, I'm going to do what works for me. There's no blanket anything about food. What works for me is what I'm doing, and everybody else can do what they do. But I stopped trying to find the perfect foods so that it'd be healthy. It's just totally stopped. So there's no way to do this thing called life. But there is a way to just trust spirit. Surrender to that guidance, surrender to that love, and bring yourself into the world from there. So this month is about manifesting trust as a spiritual community. Well, this community, as a community, my experience is y'all trust. Now, that's not to say you don't from time to time, but it certainly makes for a welcome space, makes it open, and people are at ease when they come here, and they're at peace and they're welcome. They're kind of wrapped in the warmth of spirit, and they enjoy being here. And that's because of each of you and what you bring to them and the energy that you bring. And that energy is the energy of spirit, or the energy of love or trust. So maybe it's not a question to trust or not to trust. It's only, let's trust. Trust is an aspect of spirit as love is. And, we already do a lot of trusting. We trust that this, the earth's going to move around the sun, and morning's going to come and night's going to come, and I'm going to have my next breath. And, there's a lot of things we live in trusting already. So continue that. And as much as you can, it's worth expanding. And you don't have to believe me at all. You just try it and see. Try it on and see if when you feel like you can't trust, get centered, connect with spirit, and then see what there is to do. And if it's still to not trust them in this arena, okay, you can love them in all the other arenas and not trust them in that. Okie doke. That's legitimate. But if you can trust all the way, that's good too. And see what it does for you in your life. That's all there is you're the litmus test. You're the one that knows whether it's really working or not. I don't have to tell you. When you try it, you'll know. So it's worth investigating and really, you are so right, Kathy. It's really simple. It really is. Well, that's because spirit is simple. I mean, spirit is love. Duh. Spirit is trust. Spirit is joy. Spirit is peace. Spirit is inspiration, gratitude. We could go on forever. That's what spirit is. And what's nice about that is you don't have to come here to get it, because that energy, that spirit is with you at every single second. That's who we all are. We are that. And then the question is, are we living from it or not? And sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. And when you don't, you can correct. And when you do, more, keep going. Just keep going. It's when it comes down to it, again, here we go. It's that simple. Uh-oh. Well, that's the way spirit is. Ain't it great? Couldn't be better. Couldn't be more at ease, couldn't be more peaceful, couldn't be more joy than just living and trusting spirit. So here we are doing just that. So in the end, Kathy was right. It's really pretty simple. And all there is to do really is, as an individual and as a group, is to connect with spirit. And that works when it comes to group things too. You can take the time to have for everybody to get centered and take your actions and have your conversations from there, because then they're guided by that which serves you most. So let's trust, and let us be grateful that we can determine the difference, that we have a way of seeing whether to trust or not, because the question is going to come up. Anyway, it's nice that I'm talking about this, but it doesn't mean it's smooth sailing for the rest of life. No, the question will still be there. The complication may still be there, but you always have the opportunity to go within, check in with spirit, get yourself centered, and choose from there. So I'll remind you once again of the breathing that helps. Is you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth like you have a straw in your mouth. And do that a few times. I mean, if you can do it for 5 minutes, great, because it shifts you from your sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight and flight nervous system, to parasympathetic, which is rest, digest, and create. And that's the physical way of doing it, using your body to get you in sync with spirit, and choose from there. So I invite you to trust, and most of all, I invite you to trust spirit, who trusts you, and know that that's always there, always in place, and always on behalf of you. So let us pray. Blessed Spirit, thank you, thank you, thank you for this gift of understanding and discerning trust in our lives. We're so grateful that we're aware enough and have done enough work with you and engaged with you so that we can take advantage of this. And we don't have to walk around in life blind and unconscious. We are not that. We are alive, we are awake, and we are connected to you. And for this, we are so grateful. Oh, life would be a whole other matter if this wasn't the case for all of us. We are blessed to be on this planet and to be in a community that knows this, honors this, and lives from this. Oh, there couldn't be anything better. This is truly heaven on earth, and we are blessed and grateful for the opportunity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen. Blessed be, and so it is.